What's up, Oaks Youth Student Leaders? We are here with our next episode of our Student Leaders podcast, and we are talking all about servant leadership today. And I'm joined by two amazing girls, Emilee and Olivia Cole.
Hi, guys.
They are from our Waxahachie High School small group. We're going to start with the definition of servant leadership. And so here it is. Leading like Jesus by giving up something for others, like our time, energy, or preferences. One of my favorite parts about that definition is that it focuses on leading like Jesus. And Jesus really was the perfect embodiment of what a servant leader should look like. Yeah. And so, Emilee, I would love to hear from you. What are some examples from the life of Christ that you feel like really point to him as a great servant leader?
How Jesus' whole life represented it so well. There wasn't one moment that he wasn't serving us and wanting to be a servant for his children and like wanting to be there for us. But one specific moment is whenever he washed his disciples' feet in John 13, 1 through 17. It talks about him serving willingly his like disciples and got down on the ground and washed their feet. And just like whenever he prepared and had a meal prepared for them on the shore in John 21, talking about how he prepared the fish for them, even though he allowed them to catch all these fish at sea, but he still wanted to prepare that for him.
Wow, that's so cool. And I love that you highlighted both of those moments because the washing of the feet happened right before his disciples all left him when he was like headed to the cross. And then the making of the fish, making breakfast for them, happened right after they had all deserted him and left him when he was like finally risen again. And so what we see in that is that Jesus served his disciples well knowing that they were going to mess up. He was still serving them. And I think that there's something really significant about that.
I agree.
Olivia, so there's a lot that could be said about servant leadership. But one of the biggest things is that it looks very different than worldly leadership, right? It's just very different. What are some differences between the way that we see Jesus lead and the way that the world would say that what leadership is?
It's just done out of a motive of love and done out of like sacrifice and yeah, I feel like that's just what it boils down to is sacrifice, like laying yourself down for others.
Yes.
And whereas like worldly leadership is done out of like strength. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just blew my own mind right there. Like servant leadership is done out of like sacrifice and like humbleness and like laying yourself down for others, whereas like worldly leadership is done out of strength and like seeing how strong you can be for others in order to like be able to lead them well.
You
know,
really good.
I love what you just mentioned because what you're saying is that servant leadership is really about how you can love others and the worldly leadership is really how we can try to have other people love us, you know?
Exactly.
And that is such a good difference and such a good contrast between the two. And so, girls, I would love for you to maybe share what are some ways that the Lord is challenging you to grow as a servant leader in this time of your life?
For me, whenever I think about it, it's like love and genuineness are like the biggest things. As long as you're genuine and like you love people well and stuff, like that can genuinely like go into so much of your leadership. But something I've been like really pondering lately is like on the fact of to be a good leader and to steward that well is you have to allow Jesus to serve you first. Like you have to allow Jesus to like dive into like pouring into you. That's like good. You can't like expect to do everything and then let your cup run empty because our cup will run empty.
Wow.
So like allowing Jesus to fully pour into you and it's like also recognizing when you need to be poured into.
Come on. That's
really good.
Really powerful stuff right there. That's so good. Serving others requires us to allow Jesus to serve us. And so that's really, really powerful.
Whenever I thought about this question, I feel like God just asked me like, I want you to love others in a way that's authentic. And I was like, okay, but like, what does that look like? Like, what does that actually mean? And he was like, I want you to see others in the light that I really did die for them, and that my love is still pursuing them even today.
Wow.
Yeah.
And authenticity and genuineness, because love looks like something. It's not a feeling or anything like that. It's literally, and Jesus like walked it out perfectly in his life. And so he loved people with like a genuine love, and it was authentic, and it looked like laying down his life for them even in his everyday life, and like putting them first and not counting his interests above theirs, but like counting theirs before his.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, love looks like something, and it looks like laying down your life for them.
Yeah. That's
And
so
so I
good.
feel like that's just like the most authentic way that you can love others, is just by serving them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what you're hitting on there, Olivia, because it's that we should love others not just by word, but also by action.
Yep,
And I think
exactly.
that is another huge difference of what servant leadership looks like compared to worldly leadership is that it's easy to say that you love someone. It's easy even to say that you want them to be loved by like Jesus loves them.
Yeah.
But to actually act that out and to sacrifice of ourselves just like Jesus did, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So this is so good. Girls, thank you so much for just having this conversation. And I hope that our thoughts today maybe sparked something in you, that perhaps even you that are watching, that you can take a step towards embracing a lifestyle of servant leadership. Girls, thanks so much. And we'll see you on the next episode.